Hey everyone, welcome back. Camille from 88 Fitness Training. Today we have a new video series for you talking about training from the lengthened position and how to incorporate lengthened partials into your workout. So stay tuned, check it out. So if you've been training for a while and you're just not seeing the gains that you had hoped to, it may be time to change your training technique. And so one of the ways you can do that is to make sure that you're picking exercises that are training your muscles in the lengthened position and then implementing some lengthened partials or long length partials at the end of your sets. So today we're gonna focus on the chest and chest hypertrophy, and I'll show you exactly how that's done. So let's get started. First things first, let's talk about what is the lengthened position for the chest. So if you think about it, when your arms are adducted in towards the center, your chest is in the shortened position. So if you think of a chest fly, as you come in, you squeeze and you contract those pec muscles, that's shortened. Now as you open back up in that fly, that's when your chest muscles are stretched, and that is the lengthened position. And y'all, what do me and James always tell you guys? Muscle stretched while under load has the most potential for growth. So naturally, when you're picking exercises, you wanna make sure that you're working in that stretched position. And so let's get started with an example. We're gonna do chest flies. Chest flies are a great place to start because of how much stretch they can apply to your pecs. So as you get into position, at the top, obviously your chest is in the shortened position, but as you open up the arms and come down, you're able to apply a lot of stretch to your chest. So this would be the lengthened position here. And so as you go through your chest flies, usually there'll come a point where it's so heavy you cannot get these weights up. And at that point, that's where we want you to incorporate the lengthened partial. So last rep, oh, I can't get it up, only halfway, come back down, oh, just like that, right? And so we're gonna do maybe 4 to 6, whatever we got left in the tank. So really, it's a way to extend the set, but we're training in the lengthened position. And when you think about the chest flies in particular, when you're at the top, it's dead weight, right? There's no force, there's no tension being applied. All you have at that point is the ability to contract your pecs. So training in that partial range of motion is really beneficial because the muscle stretch, you have load applied to it, you've already reached failure on your fly set, and now you're just going a little further. So if you've been stuck at the gym, can't progress up in your fly weight, not seeing that hypertrophy that you're looking for, try incorporating that at the end of your set. And you know, I wouldn't necessarily do all 3 or 4 sets this way. I would probably leave it to your last set or so. That way you're not risking injury. But the dumbbell fly is probably one of the best areas where you can incorporate this. And not only that, you have different grip options when doing flies. So I just did a traditional fly, but you could also do the hammer grip fly, depending on what area of the pec that you want it to do, and do your partials as well. So just keep that in mind as you're doing the dumbbell flies. All right, so that's exercise number 1. If you're looking to add lengthened partials in there, it's a really great option. So definitely try that out and let us know what you think. Another great option for you guys are cable crossovers. So if you're not familiar with what that is, you have a slight bend to your arm here, and you're crossing over, contracting the chest as you come together. And so a lot of times you can move a lot of weight, y'all, when you're doing cable crossovers. And that's why this makes this such an effective hypertrophy exercise for the chest. But towards the end, you have trouble fully contracting and kind of locking out those arms. And that's where you could go into the lengthened partials where you're just doing this, right? So as you come back, that chest is in the most stretched position, you have a lot of load on it, and you're actively trying to get those arms to cross over even though you can't. And if you're wondering, like, where did lengthened partials come from? It's actually been researched for a long time, like training muscles in the lengthened position, but there's a lot of studies coming back showing that actually doing this partial range of motion is pretty beneficial. And so it is a popular topic nowadays. Cable flies are going to be another great area where you can train in the lengthened position. So as you do your cable flies and they start to get really challenging, you're, able to do those lengthened partials just like this. So really stretch back, you're struggling, come up as much as you can, even if it's only part of the way, you're still gonna get a lot of benefit. So very similar to the cable crossovers. In this case, they're probably not my preferred one to do, just because on the cable crossover, you can move a lot more weight. And so the more load you have while stretched, probably the better. But if you're talking about pure stretch across those pecs, you are getting really deep stretch. So it's a really great one, nevertheless. The last exercise I'm going to show you is a pretty unique one. It is a cable chest dip. Yes, cable chest dip. In any case, you have your towers up high. You're just going to have the pulleys by your side, just like you would on a dip machine. And as you're in this upper position, you are really stretched across that chest. And then you just come straight down, contracting your chest at the bottom. Same thing, if you load up the weight on this, you'll get stuck. And this is when you just go right into those lengthened partials, 4 to 6 reps at the end of your set. So in terms of how to apply this to your workout, once again, I recommend actually doing your full range of motion sets to start with. And then as you finish your last set or two, at the end of it, do 4 to 6 reps of the lengthened partials. That way you're still getting full range of motion. And even though we're talking about training in the lengthened position and doing long length partials, you still have to get your full range of motion work, y'all. But in terms of intensifying technique, lengthened partials do have the ability to add and intensify your hypertrophy. So it may only be as much as 10%, but hey, at the end of the day, if you're not getting the growth you're looking for, 10% is huge, especially for us bodybuilders when we've been training for a long time. So it's a great technique to work in from time to time. My only recommendation is to make sure you're really warmed up. You never want to take heavy load and then automatically apply it in the stretched position doing lengthened partial. We don't want to lead to injury. We want to make sure we're using it effectively and safely as well. But again, a really great technique. I know for me, one of the areas I noticed that this was really beneficial is when I was doing dumbbell chest press. So I would be trying to progressively overload every set, and I noticed that every time I reach that failure, it's those attempts to still get that dumbbell up in the stretched position, which is what I really think leads to hypertrophy. Like I would notice that I would have that muscle soreness the next couple of days, which probably meant that I was breaking down some of that tissue, and hopefully it repairs bigger, right? So incorporating those lengthened partials intentionally definitely has a place in your workout. So for starters, I showed you the Dumbbell Fly, which was a really great option because when you think about dumbbell flies for chest, when you go over your chest, you no longer have tension. So staying in that lengthened position where you can apply the load to the chest while it's stretched is really beneficial. So definitely at the end of your dumbbell fly set, do those lengthened partials. From there, we moved on to cable crossovers. Same thing, the crossover is a powerful exercise because you can move so much more weight because your elbows are bent. So when you reach that failure point with your full range, go ahead and geek out a couple more reps in the lengthened partial state. Chest flies on the cable machine, also pretty good, right? Remember what I said, it's not quite my favorite because you can't move as much weight, but when you're talking about actually stretching the pecs out, really great exercise. And then lastly, I showed you a pretty unique exercise. It was the cable chest dip. And again, when you're in that upper position, you are really stretching your chest out. So great exercise to incorporate those lengthened partials. But I want to know what you guys think. So definitely hit the gym, try these out, and then let me and James know what you think and how it's helping you, or what exercises you can think of to apply lengthened partials to. But for more videos like this one, definitely check out our chest playlist. And as always, if you want to check out me and James live, tune in every Sunday, 12 Eastern time. It's your opportunity to interact with James and I in real time and ask any questions you may have. All right, till next time, Camille, 88 Fitness Training.